So when you think of Sherlock Holmes, perhaps you think of the world's first super sleuth who had a really funny hat and smoked a pipe. Or maybe you think of mystery and intrigue and dangerous circumstances. Or perhaps like me, you think of London. On a recent trip I took to London, I decided to take a bit of a mystery trip to a place called Brompton Cemetery, which is one of the most beautiful and eerie locations I've ever been to. On a return back to my little apartment, I researched the place a little bit more because I blindly often go to places. And I found out that that was actually where the Sherlock Holmes film was just filmed. Ironic circumstances, I think. It was that experience that has brought me my excerpt from The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. On glancing over my notes of the 70-odd cases in which I have, during the last 8 years, studied under my friend, Sherlock Holmes, I find many tragic, some comic, but a large number merely strange. For working as he did, rather for the love of his art than the acquirement of wealth, he refused to associate himself with any investigation which did not tend towards the unusual or even the fantastic. Of all these very cases, however, I cannot recall any which had more singular features than that which was associated with the Surrey family of the Roylotts of Stock Moran. The events in question occurred in my early days of my association with Holmes, when we were bachelors sharing rooms in Baker Street. Well, it's possible that I might have placed these thoughts on record before, but a promise of secrecy was made to a lady from which I have only been recently freed by the untimely death. It is perhaps as well that the fact should now come to light, for I have reasons to know that there are widespread rumors as to the death of Dr. Grimsby Roylott, which tend to make the matter even more terrible than the truth. It was early April in the year 83 that I woke one morning to find Sherlock Holmes standing, fully dressed, by the side of my bed. He was a late riser by rule, and as the clock on the mantel only showed 7:15, I blinked up at him in surprise and a little bit of resentment, for I myself was regular in my habits. "Very sorry to knock you up, Watson, but it's the common lot this morning. Miss Hudson has been knocked up. She retorted on me, and I on you." "What is it? A fire?" "No, a client. It seems a young lady has arrived in a considerable state of excitement, and she insists upon seeing me." Now, when young ladies wander around the metropolis at this hour of the morning and knock sleepy people out of their beds, I presume there is something pressing which they need to communicate. Should it prove to be an interesting case, you would, I am sure, wish to follow it from the outset. I thought, at any rate, that I should call upon you and have you follow it. "My dear fellow, I would not miss it for anything." I had no keener pleasure than in following Holmes in his professional pursuits and investigations, and admiring the rapid deductions as swift as intuitions, and yet always founded on some logical basis with which he unraveled the problems which were submitted to him. I rapidly threw on my clothes and accompanied him down to the sitting room. A lady, dressed in black, heavily veiled, who had been sitting in the window seat, rose as we entered. "Good morning, madame," said Holmes rather cheerily. "My name is Sherlock Holmes, and this is my friend and associate, Dr. Watson, before whom you can speak as freely as you would myself. I'm glad to see Miss Hudson had the good sense to light the fire. Pray you draw up to it, and I shall get you a hot cup of coffee, for I see you're shivering." "It's not the cold which makes me shiver," said the woman in a low voice, changing her seat as requested. "What then?" "It's fear, Mr. Holmes. It's terror." And I invite you to read the rest.
Next.